So in normal adults, only about half of the marrow space is hematopoietically active. Okay, this is a diagram that shows us the development of the different blood cells coming from initially the hematopoietic stem cell, and there is division into the lymphoid series and the myeloid series. And as you can see there, the endpoint is the development or the formation of mature cells on this side. It's going to be the natural killer cells. We have the B cells and the T cells for the lymphoid series. For the myeloid series, on the other hand, you get to see all these other cellular structures in the blood. We have the neutrophils, the monocytes, the eosinophils, basophils, platelets, as well as the erythrocytes. So all this belong to the myeloid series. Okay, so looking at the normal reference range, for the different blood cells, you can see here that with regards to white cells, that's the range. So below that or above that, it's going to be abnormal. The same thing holds true. We have here the differential counts, comprising of the different mature white blood cells. The most numerous is or are the neutrophils, and then we have down the line we have several numbers of basophils and eosinophils, and this is the normal range for the red cells. And with regards to platelets, it's about 150 to 450 times 10 to the 3 per microliter. So moving on, the primary tumors of the hematopoietic cells are among the most important diseases that will interfere with marrow function. So we can see that later. Certain genetic diseases or infections, as well as toxins, including nutritional deficiencies, as well as chronic inflammation, whatever the cause is, may also decrease the production of blood cells by the marrow. So we can observe in different conditions that there are changes in the number of the different blood cells. Tumors of hematopoietic origin are often associated with mutations. So malignancies, that mutations that block the progenitor cell maturation, or it will affect the growth factor dependence. In some instances, these tumors originate from the transformed hematopoietic stem cells that will retain their ability to differentiate along multiple lineages. So you can see multiple cells are affected. Whereas in certain instances, the origin is in a more differentiated progenitor cell or progenitor that has acquired an abnormal capacity for self-renewal. So segregated lang siya to a certain type of cell. Okay. Let's look at the bone anatomy. So you can see here a picture or diagram showing us the components of the bone. So this is a long bone. You have the yellow marrow over there. We have the spongy bone that contains the red marrow. If you will enlarge it, you see the different components, the spongy bone and the compact bone, and then you get to see the vascular channels that are also involved here. And then, of course, if you look at a higher magnification, you get a bone marrow aspirate or biopsy. You get to see the different blood cells in that specimen. So this is just a diagram that shows us certain areas that are preferred, particularly this area, iliac region, to obtain a bone marrow specimen. And then you are taught, or you will be taught in clinical diagnosis, how this is being done. Okay, so looking at actual slides of bone marrow aspirate. This is bone marrow aspirate. You get to see the cellular elements. So you can appreciate, it's a little bit hazy at that. It's a smear. Comparing it with the biopsy, where you can delineate the the fat, no, from the cellular elements, no, just like what we see here. So if we see something like this, no, the cellularity of the bone marrow biopsy would depend on the age of the patient. But generally, if you see something like this, it seems that this has normal cellularity. If you see more of the cellular elements compared to the fatty tissue or fat cells, no, then it is a hypercellular marrow. And if you see little amount of cellular element compared to the fat, then it seems to be a hypocellular marrow. Okay, the disorders of white cells, no, can be classified into two broad categories. We have the proliferative disorders, in where there is an expansion of the leukocyte, more in number for the leukocyte, whereas in leukopenia, it means that there is a decrease or a deficiency of the leukocyte. So these are the two broad categories with regards to white cell disorders. Looking at leukopenia, no, so the number of circulating white cells may be decreased in a variety of disorders, as we get to see cases, no, cases of this disorders that are associated with leukopenia. And abnormally low white cell count leukopenia usually result from reduced numbers of neutrophils. No? So specifically, you call that neutropenia. Generally, a white cell, you call it leukopenia. So kung specific component, you can call it neutropenia, granulocytopenia. In addition to immunodeficiency diseases, no, it is most commonly observed in the following. So we have here in advanced cases of HIV infection. No? We also have after treatment or therapy with glucocorticoids or cytotoxic drugs in certain autoimmune diseases, as well as in malnourished patients. And you get to see this also in acute viral infection. So specifically, if you're looking at neutropenia, there is a reduction in the number of neutrophils in the blood, no? Neutrophils, because it's neutropenia, okay? So this can be caused by inadequate or ineffective granulopoiesis, so the production is the one that is a problem. Or, on the other hand, it could be the increased destruction or sequestration of neutrophils in the periphery. No? So there's no problem with the production. However, there is an increase in the destruction of what has been produced, or the neutrophils that were produced. Okay. So another term is a granulocytosis, a marked reduction of neutrophils. It has a serious consequence of making individuals susceptible to bacterial and fungal infection, because we know that the capability of these neutrophils to take care of microorganisms. So in inadequate granulopoiesis, it is observed in the setting of the following. So including suppression of hematopoietic stem cells, suppression of committed granulocytic precursor, or certain diseases that are associated with disruption of hematopoiesis, the production of white cells. And in certain rare congenital conditions, we get to observe this as well. Okay. In cases of accelerated destruction or sequestration of neutrophils, no? So this one occurs with immunologically mediated injury to neutrophils. In certain cases, na merong splenomegaly, wherein cells are trapped within the spleen. And then if there is increased peripheral utilization, like for example, severe bacterial infection, no, wherein there is an increased peripheral utilization of neutrophils. Okay. Morphology-wise, no, infections are a common consequence of agranulocytosis. So what do we observe of marrow infection? Depende, no? So we have here ulcerating necrotizing lesions of the gingiva, no, wherever it is, no? Typically deep, undermined, and covered by gray to green black necrotic membrane, no, from which you'll be able to demonstrate the presence of numerous bacteria or fungi, no? Less frequently, no, makikita din natin pwede rin sa different areas of the body, ulcerative lesions, no. Certain severe, life-threatening, invasive bacterial or fungal infections may occur in organs like the lungs, urinary tract, and kidneys. Okay, so it is said that neutrophilic patients are at particularly high risk for deep fungal infection, no? Particularly candidiasis and aspergillosis. So, yung supposedly types of fungal or fungi that can be easily managed, no? For a patient who is neutrophilic, he will be susceptible to those ones, no? What are the other clinical features? So the signs and symptoms of neutropenia are related to the infection. So pwedeng ang patient mo will be manifesting with fever and chills, body malaise, and then weakness, easy fatigability, no? Tapos, there are instances na talagang pag overwhelming ang granulocytosis. This can be associated with the death of the patients within hours to several days. Okay. On the other side, we have here reactive proliferations, no? Reactive proliferations of white cells and lymph nodes, otherwise known as leukocytosis. Okay, so the peripheral blood leukocyte count is influenced by several factors that would include the size of the myeloid and the lymphoid precursors, as well as the storage cell pools in these different places, no? So the rate of release of cells from the storage pools into the circulation, how fast or how frequent, no, is the release of cells from the storage pools, depending on the need, the proportion of cells that are adherent to the blood vessel walls at any time, that is what we call the marginal pool, and the rate of extravasation of cells from the blood into the tissues. Okay, so listed here are mechanisms and causes of leukocytosis. Okay, so we have here for increased marrow production, merong chronic infection or inflammation. No? We also have paraneoplastic condition, myeloproliferative neoplasms, as listed here. For the increased release from marrow stores, pag merong acute inflammation, like in the presence of infection and chronic inflammation as well, no? Decreased margination during exercise and presence of catecholamines, and then decreased extravasation into the tissues with the presence of glucocorticoids, whatever the level of this one is, no? So this is another table showing us specifically, no, pag neutrophilic leukocytosis, ano ang cause? Pag eosinophilic, of course, we know it's allergic. Pagka neutrophilic, it's more of bacterial, acute bacterial, no? And other conditions, no, pwede rin, as listed here. Basophilic leukocytosis, no, myeloproliferative neoplasm, like CML, monocytosis, pag mga chronic infections like tuberculosis, and lymphocytosis, no, mga chronic inflammatory process, immunologic stimulation like tuberculosis, as well as viral infections. Okay, so we have here a smear, no, showing us presence predominantly of neutrophils. Okay, so you can see the multilobated neutrophils. Okay, so certain neutrophils containing coarse purple, no, cytoplasmic granules, we call that toxic granulation, and then blue cytoplasmic patches, okay, Dolby bodies, as mentioned here in the arrow. They are observed in the PBS, a patient with sepsis, no, bacterial sepsis specifically. So this one shows us the distribution of the different lymphoid organs, no, or lymphoid tissues in the different areas of the body. If we look at it microscopically, so we see something like this, no? At the periphery, you have fatty tissue surrounding it, then you have the capsule that surrounds the lymphoid tissue or the lymph node, and then within the lymph node, you get to see this germinal centers, no, lymphoid follicles, and then in between the parafollicular region or the T cell centers, dito, mga B cells are the ones that you see there, no? Okay, conditions. If there is injury and infection, no, they can induce subtle changes. However, certain significant, more significant infection will lead to nodal enlargement, just like this one. And then sometimes, pwede magkaroon ng residual scarring pagka nagkaroon ng lesion, no, outside. Okay, it is often necessary to distinguish morphologic changes secondary to the past experience from those related to the present disease of the patient. We call that lymphadenitis, no? So here is acute non-specific lymphadenitis. Okay, acute lymphadenitis in the cervical region is most often due to drainage of microbes or microbial products from infections of the teeth or tonsils, no? In the axillary or inguinal region, this is most often caused by infections in the extremities. It also occurs in mesenteric lymph nodes in the setting of acute appendicitis and other inflammatory conditions in the GIT and GUT, no, that can be observed. Now, so this is acute non-specific lymphadenitis. So morphologically, you can see this one, no, gross morphology. It seems that it has redness, it is painful like that, no? And then microscopically, you get to see something like this, no? So depende what would be the morphology that you will see, no? But you can see combination of inflammatory cells, no? Whether depende sa infection that is causing it, the type of predominant, no, regions that will be observed. Okay, so we have here follicular hyperplasia. The causes here are the following, no? So this is morphologically similar to follicular lymphoma. So we have to differentiate it from that. One way to differentiate it is the following. No? We have preservation of the lymph node architecture. We know that this is the germinal center or the lymphoid follicle with the surrounding parafollicular area or the T cell area. And then there is a marked variation in the shape and size of the follicle. So hindi uniform yung sizes and shapes of the follicles, no? As compared to follicular lymphoma, more or less similar ang size and shape, no? So frequent mitotic figures, maraming phagocytic macrophages, and you get to see light and dark zones, all of which tend to be absent from neoplastic follicles. Okay. Paracortical hyperplasia naman, no? On the other hand, this is the one that is in between, no, the germinal centers of the follicles, no? So T cell mediated immune responses is the one that is causing this, like acute viral infection. So you get to have a larger area of the parafollicular or paracortical area, no? Meaning the T cells are increased, or the ones that are reactive over here. Okay. Sinus hystosis, on the other hand, it is also called reticular hyperplasia, no? It is marked by increase in the number and size of the endothelial cells. This is the sinusoid, no? Lymphatic sinusoid. There is increase in the number of intrasinusoidal macrophages, no, that will expand, no, that will expand this particular sinusoid, so it becomes bigger. Now, this form of hyperplasia may be particularly prominent in lymph nodes that drain cancers, like in breast carcinoma. No? So they get axillary lymph node, and then kung invasive ductal carcinoma, for example, you get to see in large areas of the sinusoids. No? So we call it sinus histiocytosis, not necessarily having the malignant cells there. No? So it's just widening of this sinusoid. Okay, so when we palpate, the areas where the lymph nodes are, okay, so we can we can we can feel the presence of enlarged lymph node, in the different areas where they are supposed to be seen. Inside the body, of course, it can be visualized, like for example, doing the CT scan. So if there's a need to do a biopsy, we do that, and then we examine it underneath the microscope to see what's causing, the lymphadenopathy or the enlargement of the lymph node. Okay, so we have here hemophagocytic lymphohistiocytosis, so otherwise known as macrophage activation syndrome. So it is a reactive condition marked by cytopenia and signs and symptoms of systemic inflammation related to macrophage activation. So it's the common feature of all forms of this one is systemic activation of macrophages and CD8 positive cytotoxic T cells. Most patients present with an acute febrile illness that is associated, with an observable splenomegaly and hepatomegaly. Okay, so we go now to the neoplastic proliferations of white cells. Okay, let's have an overview. Malignancies are clinically the most important disorders of white cells. Yes, these diseases fall into three broad categories. We have the lymphoid neoplasm, we have the myeloid neoplasm, and the histiocytosis. Okay, so what are the etiologic and pathogenetic factors in this type of neoplasia? We have chromosomal translocation and other acquired mutation. Marami yan, no? So non-random chromosomal abnormalities, mostly translocation. Okay. Then we have inherited genetic factors, this one that promotes genomic instability, like example this, they are at increased risk of developing acute leukemia. Yung mga patients with Down syndrome and type 1 neurofibromatosis, they are found to have increased incidence of childhood leukemia. Okay. Viruses, we all know that certain viruses are associated with certain neoplastic, white blood cell neoplasia. So we have 3 lymphotropic viruses that have been implicated. We have the human T-cell leukemia virus, we have the Epstein-Barr virus, and then we have the human herpes virus A, also known as Kaposi sarcoma herpes virus. Okay. Chronic inflammations, are also found to be associated, yung mga localized chronic inflammations. Okay. Siguro yung prolonged, chronic inflammatory process, like patients having H. pylori infection. This is associated with gastric B-cell lymphoma, and then we have other types of malignancies, T-cell lymphomas. Okay, breast implants, can be associated with certain subtype of T-cell lymphomas. Okay, then also merong mga iatrogenic factors, So you're treating one thing, creating another thing, Ironically, radiation therapy and certain forms of chemotherapy that treat cancer, impose risk to the patient, with myeloid and lymphoid neoplasia, because of the mutagenic effects of the radiation and the chemotherapeutic drugs that are being used. Smoking, no? So we have learned that smoking, no, produces a lot of carcinogen. Okay, so there are a lot of carcinogens such as benzene in tobacco smoke. Okay, so neoplasms that present with widespread involvement of the bone marrow, no, and the peripheral blood are known as leukemia. But if it is situated in discrete tissue masses, no, you call it lymphoma. In the lymphoid tissues, in the lymph node, no, you call it lymphoma. But if you get to see it in the bone marrow and the peripheral blood, then you call it leukemia. Okay, let's look at the lymphoid neoplasm. The clinical presentation of lymphoid neoplasm is most often determined by their anatomic distribution of the disease. So two-thirds of non-Hodgkin's lymphomas and virtually all Hodgkin's lymphomas, they present as enlarged non-tender lymph node. This is important also. This is often more than 2 centimeter. Remember the lymphadenitis that we have mentioned or studied a while ago. Pag acute lymphadenitis, no, pwedeng several lymph nodes are involved. But the thing is, you saw how they look like, no? And just by looking at them, it seems that it's very painful, no? So there is pain in acute lymphadenitis as most of the time, no? As compared to lymphomas, wherein the lymph nodes are non-tender. So if the patient is able to palpate, or if you were able to palpate no nodular lesions on areas wherein there are supposed to be lymph nodes and it is noted to be non-tender, then take note that this might be a malignant process. Mostly if you have multiple lymphadenopathies with large sizes. No? The remaining non-Hodgkin's lymphomas, they present with symptoms related to the involvement of extranodal site. Kung nasa skin yan, nasa stomach or sa brain, then the signs and symptoms will be related to that, okay, to that particular area. Lymphocytic leukemia most often come to attention because of signs and symptoms related to suppression of normal hematopoiesis by tumor cells in the bone marrow, whereas the most common plasma neoplasm, like we know about multiple myeloma, they cause bony destruction. No? So may pain yan, no? Destruction of the skeleton, and this has pain due to pathologic fractures. Okay, so we have here the classification under World Health Organization and the WHO classification of lymphoid neoplasm. They have been classified into precursor B cell neoplasm. Then we have the peripheral B cell neoplasm. We have subcategories of those of listed here. Then we have the precursor T cell neoplasm, no? ALL, BALL, the TAL. Then we have peripheral T cell and natural killer cell neoplasms, no? And listed here are the different types. And then we have the Hodgkin's lymphoma. We have several classic subtypes here, no? As we will see later as well. Okay. So certain important principles relevant to lymphoid neoplasm. No? So we use this in categorizing them. No? So may mga antigen designation ang iba-ibang klase ng cells, like the primary T cell. These are the ones that we get to see, all will become positive. Primary B cells, these are the ones that will become positive, and so on. No? So these are markers that we can utilize, no, to determine the classification of the lymphoid neoplasm. No? So the lymphoid neoplasm can be suspected based on clinical features, but histologic examination of lymph nodes or other involved tissues is required, no, for the diagnosis. Okay. So there are certain important other principles relevant to lymphoid neoplasm. So antigen receptor gene rearrangement generally precedes transformation of lymphoid cells, of course, no? So that the daughter cells derived from the malignant progenitor share the same antigen receptor cell, antigen receptor gene configuration, and sequence and synthesis identical antigen receptor proteins. Okay, most lymphoid neoplasm resemble some recognizable stage of B or T cell differentiation. Okay, others, most of the remainder being T cell tumors, tumors of NK cell origin are rare. No, so these are often associated with immune abnormalities. No, these neoplastic cells tend to recapitulate the behavior of their normal counterparts. And then Hodgkin's lymphoma, take note that Hodgkin's lymphoma spreads in an orderly, stepwise fashion, which is different from non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, which disseminates widely and unpredictable at that. No? So it says here, while lymphoma staging provides useful prognostic information, it is of most utility in guiding therapy in Hodgkin's lymphoma. Okay, so we have here tables, no, showing us the different neoplasms, no, coming from immature B and T cells, no, neoplasm of mature B cells and mature T cells or NK cells, listed here where they came from, the cell of origin, the genotype that can be observed, and the clinical features associated with them. Okay, let's discuss precursor B and T cell neoplasm. No? Acute lymphoblastic leukemia or lymphoma or ALL. No? So they are composed of immature, pinag-isa na lang to, discussion of precursor B and T cell. No? So we have immature B or T cells, so pre-B or pre-T cells. No? These are referred to as the lymphoblasts. No? So about 85% are BALL. So mas common ang BALL as compared to TALL. And ALL is generally the most common malignancy in children. Okay. So ALL or lymphoma, most TALs have mutation, as listed here, NATCH1, no? Which is essential for T cell development. Okay. Yung sa BALL, they have mutations affecting these different genes, no? Which are actually genes for proper differentiation of early hematopoietic precursor. So approximately 90% of ALLs, meron silang mga numerical or structural chromosomal changes. We have studied this in genetics, right? Na pag chromosomes ay either numerical or structure ang problem. So most of them are hyperploidy, okay? But hypoploidy and a variety of balanced chromosomal translocation can also be observed, okay? So we have here actual specimen or smears and bone marrow. No? You can see this is quite cellular. No? And this one, ALL, you get to see cells, no, that are big with small rim of cytoplasm. No? Some would be displaying nucleoli. No? So you know that these are blasts. No? Okay. So we have here immunophenotyping. No? So this is very important. This is routinely requested if we are making a diagnosis of white blood cell neoplasm. No? So in here, immune staining for TDT, no, that is expressed only in pre-B and pre-T lymphocyte will be positive in more than 95% of cases. So we get to request for that, no? So meron din mga expression of pan-B cell marker like CD19 and the transcription factor, PAX5, as well as CD10. So they will turn out to be positive. Okay, so when we are dealing with white cell neoplasm, it's usually a panel of immunophenotyping. Okay, so sa immature, very immature BALS, CD10 is negative. So there's a leeway, no? Pwedeng negative yan because it's very immature. Okay? Alternatively, more mature, late pre-B ALLs express CD10, CD19, CD20. Okay, so these are the ones that we request. Okay, so will not dwell so much on this, but I want you to familiarize yourselves with the different immunophenotypes, no, that needs to be requested for the specific, no, neoplasm, white blood cell neoplasm. Okay, so clinically, no, the ALL and AML are genetically and immunophenotypically distinct, pero similar sila clinically. No? In both, the accumulation of neoplastic blasts in the bone marrow would, of course, suppress the normal hematopoiesis. Just imagine abnormal cells, neoplastic cells, are more predominant in the bone marrow. It will now encroach on the other cells that are supposed to be developing there. No? So, competition for growth factors and other poorly understood mechanisms happen. No? So common features and those most more characteristic of ALL are the following: abrupt, stormy onset within days to a few weeks of the first symptoms. No? So we have here other clinical features, symptoms related to depression of marrow function. Siyempre, nandiyan na yung mga decrease in neutrophils, no? Thrombocytopenia. So you would expect patients to be presenting with bleeding, no, easily infected, no, merong fatigue because of anemia, because even the red blood cells are affected, no. So mass effects caused by neoplastic infiltration, depende kung saan nakikita ito, no. So it can encroach on the different areas. Okay, so there is generalized lymphadenopathy, splenomegaly, hepatomegaly, even testicular enlargement. You get to see this infiltrating this different areas. No? Central nervous system manifestation, pwede yan. Pag meron kang mga tumor cells that has spread already in the CNS, no, like meningeal spread, no, leading to headache, vomiting, and nerve palsies. Okay. There are certain factors associated with worse prognosis. So have to remember this, that if a patient is younger than 2 years of age, no, this is said to be having a worse prognosis. Presentation in adolescents or adulthood. In between, mas better kanilang prognosis. Peripheral blood blast counts greater than 100,000. So kung ganyan na karami, no? This reflects a high tumor burden. So it connotes a worse prognosis. Okay, favorable prognostic factors or markers. If the age of the patient is between 2 and 10 years, there is low white cell count, hyperdiploidy, trisomy of these chromosomes, and the presence of translocation of chromosome 12 and 21. This would connote a favorable prognostic or prognosis for patient. So these are key concepts found in your book, no? So ALL is the most common type of cancer in children, as we have mentioned a while ago, derived from pre-B or T. Pre-T, highly aggressive tumors manifest with signs and symptoms of bone marrow failure or rapidly growing mass. Tumor cells contain genetic lesions, no, na pwede mag-block sa differentiation. Mag-accumulate ang immature non-functional blasts, no? And then a subset of tumors contain activate mutation in tyrosine kinases that are important targets of therapy. Okay, so let's go to peripheral B-cell neoplasm, the CLL or small lymphocytic lymphomas. No? So chronic lymphocytic leukemia and small lymphocytic lymphoma, SLL, differ only in the degree of peripheral blood lymphocytosis. So number ulit, no? So most affected patients, they have sufficient lymphocytosis to fulfill the diagnosis requirement for CLL, right? There should be an absolute lymphocyte count of more than 5,000 per cubic millimeter. Okay. CLL is the most common leukemia of adults, okay, in the Western world. The median age is this, 60 years, and more predominantly seen in male, no? In contrast, SLL constitute only about 4% of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. So much less common in these areas, Japan and other Asian countries than in the West. Okay. So microscopically, this is what we see. No? So we have um, this tumor cells, not that big, no? Hindi ganun sila kalalaki, depositic, no? We have proliferation of tumor cells in the liver, no? That could happen, okay? Infiltration of different organ system. This is coming from the lymph node, no? There is already effacement of the generalized lymphadenopathy, patients supported patient, no, who are symptomatic. Okay, so we have your other variables that correlate with worse outcome as listed here. So go through this, no? Then we have other factors, no? Another factors that impact survival is the tendency of CLL or SL to transform into a more aggressive tumor, no? Particularly this one, no? Diffuse large B-cell lymphoma, or Richter or Richter syndrome, okay, in this number of patients. So there is development of rapidly enlarging mass within a lymph node or the spleen, okay, so with accusation of new abnormalities, including these genes. Okay, so patients surviving less than a year, okay, unless you institute certain management or treatment, as we will see later in the different specific lesions. Then we have follicular lymphoma. We have mentioned this a while ago. So this is the one that we have to differentiate from follicular lymphadenitis. So follicular lymphoma is strongly associated with chromosomal translocation involving BCL2. So we have here and so chromosome 14 and 18. Then these are the specific loci involved. Okay, so a lot of them will have translocation in those chromosomes, and BCL2 antagonizes apoptosis and promotes the survival of follicular lymphoma cells. So arrest apoptosis. That's why tumor cells are surviving. So as we have mentioned earlier, ang follicular lymphoma more or less similar, yung size and shape ng mga follicular component, as we can see here. May mga maliliit pa dyan, but generally, we have enlarged follicular areas. Okay, so this is another one. This is coming from the spleen, may mga nodular lesions, as you can see here. And then microscopically, special stain or certain staining procedures can help us determine this type of lymphoma. Okay, so common features are relatively the following: large cell size, 4 to 5 times the diameter of small lymphocyte. Okay, diffuse pattern of growth, okay, involving the whole area of the lymphoid tissue. So round or oval nuclei, vesicular at that, because of the margination of the chromatin to the nuclear membrane. Large multilobated or regular nuclei are prominent in some cases. So merong mga two to three nucleoli, okay, that might be observed. Cytoplasm, usually moderately abundant, in pale or basophilic, and more anaplastic tumors may contain multinucleated cells with large inclusion-like nucleoli that resembles the RS cell or the Reed-Sternberg cell, which we will be looking at when we discuss Hodgkin's lymphoma. Okay, so they present with, again, painless or like generalized lymphadenopathy and then involvement of extranodal site, like the GIT, CNS, or testis. No? This is found to be uncommon. No? Incurable, although incurable, it usually follows an indolent waxing and waning course. No? So survival, the median survival is during the is 7 to 9 years. Okay, it is not improved by aggressive therapy. Okay, so palliative treatment with low dose chemotherapy or immunotherapy pagka symptomatic sila. Okay, diffuse large B-cell lymphoma is the most common form of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. So slight male predominance, median patient age is about 60 years, no? But it can also occur in younger age group. Okay, so mature B-cell tumors express CD19 and CD20. That was variable expression with these other markers, no? Meron silang surface IG, high-level expressions of both MYC and BCL2 proteins, would predict a more aggressive behavior. Okay, so extranodal site, including these different areas, no? Uncommon in bone marrow, usually late in the course. Okay, rarely a leukemic picture emerges, no? So lymphoma, di ba, nasa tissue siya. Okay, pero pwede siyang magkaroon ng leukemic feature, no? So sa blood, you get to see that. Then we have Burkitt's lymphoma. Burkitt's lymphoma, no? Tatlong klase, African or endemic Burkitt's. We have the sporadic, non-endemic Burkitt lymphoma, and a subset aggressive lymphomas occurring with those infected with HIV. No? So histologically identical sila, no? But they have distinct clinical, genotypic, and virologic characteristics. So lahat ng forms of Burkitt's lymphoma are associated with translocation of the MYC gene on chromosome 8, and this leads to an increase in the MYC protein levels. Okay, so immunophenotyping, okay, listed here. Okay, so just go through that, familiarize yourself, no? Burkitt lymphoma almost always fails to express the anti-apoptotic protein BCL2. Okay, so we have here endemic Burkitt lymphoma presents as a mass involving the mandible. So endemic mandible, no? Unusual predilection of the abdominal viscera, particularly these organs. Ang sporadic naman, no, sa ileocecal and peritoneum. And then involvement of the bone marrow and peripheral blood is uncommon, especially in the endemic cases. Okay, and then we have mantle cell lymphoma. And this is an uncommon lymphoid neoplasm. So I'll just leave you to reading these characteristics of mantle cell lymphoma. So immunophenotypically, these are the features. Okay, and then we have marginal zone lymphomas. Okay, arise within tissues involved by chronic inflammatory disorders of autoimmune or infections or infectious etiology. So like this one, this is an example, Helicobacter Hashimoto's, no? So localized for prolonged periods, systemically spreading only in the late course. Okay, pwede siyang mag-regress pag nawala yung agent that is associated with it. Okay, then we have hairy cell leukemia. It is rare but distinctive B-cell neoplasm. Hairy cell in the sense na you get to see this things protruding out of the cells, hair-like materials. No? So clinical manifestation result largely from infiltration of the bone marrow. Ganun ulit, no? Bone marrow, liver, and spleen. So pag affected na yan, you will have manifestation pertaining to yan ulit, mga anemia and the likes. No? Infection and the likes. Depende kung gaano ka-involved ang bone marrow and other organ system. But you can expect to have, mga pancytopenia, no? Less common ang hepatomegaly. Lymphadenopathy is rare, no? But splenomegaly, no, is often massive, most common and sometimes the only abnormal physical findings that we find here. Okay, so there is increased incidence of mycobacterial infection, no? Expected kasi kung nagkakaroon ka ng pancytopenia. Hairy cell leukemia follows an indolent course, no? Pwede bigyan ng gentle chemotherapeutic regimens. Okay, so pwede mag-relapse ang tumor 5 or more years, pero nag-respond well, no, when retreated with the same agent. So the overall prognosis is excellent. Okay, so we have here key concepts showing us the different characteristics of the ones that we have discussed. So we just go through this. Okay, and then we have the peripheral T and NK, natural killer cell neoplasm. Okay. I think this is not. We already discussed this one, no? So we go here. Okay, so peripheral T-cell lymphoma as specified, no? So peripheral T-cell lymphomas derived from mature T cells. They usually express this CDs, no? And some also express this additional CDs, okay? And most patients present with generalized lymphadenopathy accompanied by eosinophilia, pruritus, fever, and weight loss. No? So cures for peripheral T-cell lymphoma has been reported, no? However, they have significantly worse prognosis than the mature B-cell neoplasm that we have mentioned a while ago, the diffuse large B-cell lymphoma. No? So we have anaplastic large cell lymphoma, ALK positive. This is uncommon entity. It's defined by presence of rearrangement of this gene on chromosome 2, short arm, no? Short arm of chromosome 2, region 2, band 3. No? So these are the characteristics. They tend to occur in children or young adults, frequently involve soft tissues, and carry a very good prognosis, unlike the other aggressive peripheral T cell neoplasm. So mataas ang cure rate niya, no, with chemotherapy, 75 to 80%. Okay. So mainly in regions where HTLV1 is endemic for adult T-cell leukemia or lymphoma, no? Common findings are the following: skin lesions, general lymphadenopathy, hepatos, splenomegaly. So meron tayong overlap ng mga manifestation, no? So this one has peripheral blood lymphocytosis and hypercalcemia. Okay, so additional characteristics, no? HTLV1 infection also give rise to progressive demyelinating disease of the CNS and spinal cord. And then the tumor cells have this characteristic multilobated nuclei, no? Yung clover leaf or the flower cells, as you can see here. No? So yan ang characteristic niya, the tumor one. For pathologists or hematologists, you get to see something like that. We'll think of this, no? So they always contain clonal HTLV1 proviruses. Okay. Mycosis fungoides, Sézary syndrome, no? So clinically, this is a cutaneous lesion of mycosis fungoides that progress through 3 distinct stages, no? The pre-mycotic phase, plaque phase, and tumor phase. Histologically, involve ang epidermis and upper dermis infiltrated by neoplastic B cell. No? Meron silang cerebriform brain-like appearance, no, ng cells due to marked enfolding of the nuclear membrane. No? So there is late progression, nagkakaroon ng extracutaneous spread, no, most commonly to lymph nodes and the bone marrow. So we have there, no, Sézary syndrome. This is a variant with skin involvement manifested as generalized exfoliative erythroderma. So in contrast to mycosis fungoides, yung skin lesions, they rarely proceed to tumescence, and there is an associated leukemia. No? So may spread siya sa blood, no? Of Sézary cells with characteristic cerebriform nuclei. So although cutaneous disease dominates the clinical picture, sensitive molecular analysis have shown that tumor cells circulate through the blood, the bone marrow, and the lymph nodes, even in the early course. No? So median survival is roughly 10 years. Pwede siyang mag-transform into an aggressive T-cell lymphoma, no? Occasionally, no, as a terminal event. I've seen one case having mycosis fungoides and then eventually succumb, no, to this type of lymphoma when she got pregnant, and went on with the pregnancy. So like exacerbate and then progression, transformation to an aggressive T-cell lymphoma. Okay, and then we have large granular lymphocytic leukemia. So T and NK cell variants of this variant are recognized, both of which occur mainly in adults. No? So T cell disease usually presented mild to moderate lymphocytosis and splenomegaly. And then rare lymphadenopathy or hepatomegaly, but they are usually absent. No? Natural killer cell disease often presents in an even more subtle fashion with little or no lymphocytosis or splenomegaly. So 30 to 40% of large granular lymphocytic leukemias meron silang mutation in the transcription factor STAT3, no? Which functions downstream of cytokine receptors. So, ito yung mga dominant features, no? Clinical feature, secondary to marrow infiltration, pero more of neutropenia and anemia. No? So, variable course, dependent on the severity of cytopenia, okay, and responsiveness to the low-dose chemotherapy being given or the steroids that are being given to patient. Okay, so indolent and course niya for the T-cell origin. For NK cell, mas aggressive sila. Okay, and then we have extranodal NK or T-cell lymphoma. So, this is rare in this area, no, frequently present with destructive nasopharyngeal mass. No? Less common sites of presentation includes the testis and the skin. Okay, so tumor cell infiltrate typically surrounds and invades small blood vessels, as you can see here. No? Nag-lead siya sa ischemic necrosis. Okay, so when you do touch preparation in the laboratory, we observe presence of large eosinophilic granules in the cytoplasms of the tumor cells that resembles those found in the natural killer cells. Okay, so this is highly associated with Epstein-Barr virus. Okay, so key concepts are as follows, no? Anaplastic large cell lymphoma, okay, aggressive T-cell tumor, okay, with translocation that lead to constitutive activation of the ALK tyrosine kinase, adult T-cell leukemia or lymphoma, aggressive tumor of CD4 positive T-cells uniformly associated with HTLV1 infection. Yung large granular lymphocytic leukemia, it's an indolent tumor of cytotoxic T-cells or NK cell associated with mutation in this transcription factor with autoimmune phenomena and cytopenias, and then extranodal NK or T-cell lymphomas. These are aggressive tumor, usually derived from NK cells. cells, aggressive compared to the T cell associated with EBV infection. Okay. Then we have the plasma cell neoplasms and related disorders. This B cell proliferation, they contain neoplastic plasma cells that always secrete monoclonal Ig or Ig fragments. You have studied this in CD already, no? Serves as tumor markers and often have pathologic consequences. So about 15% of deaths, no, caused by lymphoneoplasm is secondary to plasma cell neoplasm. So most common and deadly of these neoplasms in multiple myeloma, okay, which what do you call this, contribute to the statistics of 15,000 new cases per year, okay, in the US. So a monoclonal Ig identified in the blood is referred to as an M component in reference to myeloma. And the neoplastic plasma cells, they synthesize excess light change along with a complete immunoglobulins. Okay. So meron tayong mga related disorders associated, no, in plasma cells, multiple myeloma, Waldenström, macroglobulinemia, and the rest as listed here. Multiple myeloma, okay, you're familiar with this, commonly associated with lytic wound lesions, and eventually hypercalcemia, renal failure, and acquired immune abnormalities. So this is the peak incidence, 65 to 70 years of age, no? Genetically heterogeneous and associated with frequent rearrangement involving this proliferation and survival of myeloma cells are dependent on the cytokines, mostly interleukin 6, no, which is an important growth factor for plasma cells, no. Tapos yung factors produced by the neoplastic plasma cells, they mediate bone destruction. So that's why we get to observe, you know, fracture in patients with multiple myeloma. Okay, pathologic features. This is associated with pathologic features of multiple myeloma. Okay, so yung marrow niya would contain increased number of plasma cells. Plasma cells have eccentrically located nuclei, you know, cartwheel pattern. They infiltrate the interstitial in a subtle fashion or completely replace the normal elements, no? Sa kidneys, no? We have the Bence-Jones proteins that are excreted there, okay? Then we have here the punch-out defects in the skull, no? In the bone. So this one, another one. So this is, there is bone resorption rather, no, that leads to pathologic fracture as well as chronic pain in patient. And then of course, no, there is hypercalcemia that we observe in patient, and then the other manifestations here. Okay, so there is increased levels of IGs in the blood, light change in the urine as well. No, so more than 3 grams per deciliter of serum Ig or more than 6 milligrams per deciliter of urine Bence-Jones protein. So most common monoclonal Ig and protein, no, IgG, no, followed by IgA. Okay. So with that, it is associated with hyperviscosity in about 7% of patients, no. In cases wherein there is absence of M proteins, it doesn't mean na walang multiple myeloma. So we have to dig deeper on this. Smoldering myeloma, just go through the characteristics. No? So it's in between multiple myeloma and amoebas, which we will see in a while. Solitary osseous plasmacytoma with the characteristic here, you know, solitary as the name type, solitary lesion of bone or soft tissue, you know, tend to occur in the same lesion as in multiple myeloma. Extraosseous lesions occur in these regions. Okay, there is modest elevation of M proteins in the blood or urine. Okay. Okay, so pwede siyang ano, no? In contrast to itong extraosseous plasmacytoma, they can be resected, no? Locally resected. Okay. Then we have MGOS, or the monoclonal gammopathy of antifermin significans. No? It is the most common plasma cell disorder. Okay, so found in about 3% of patients older than 50 years of age and higher for those 70 years of age and above. No? Asymptomatic and serum M protein level is less than 3 grams per deciliter. We will compare it with multiple myeloma. 1% of patients develop symptomatic plasma cell neoplasm, usually per year. No? And then early stages, this is considered to be an early stage of myeloma development. Okay. So unpredictable progression to multiple myeloma. So dapat ina-assess sila periodically. Then we have lymphoplasmacytic lymphoma. So it is a B-cell neoplasm of older adults that usually present in the 6th or 7th decade of life, a fraction of which undergo terminal differentiation to plasma cells. Most commonly, plasma cell components secretes monoclonal IgM, often in amounts sufficient to cause hyperviscosity syndrome, which is called Waldenstrom macroglobulinemia. So this is IgM Waldenstrom. Almost all cases of lymphoplasmacytic lymphoma are associated with acquired mutation of this one, MYD88. Okay, that encodes for adapter protein. Okay, that is involved in the signaling events that activate this one. Okay, so morphologically, this is what we get to see. The dominant presenting complaints are non-specific, including weakness, fatigue, and weight loss. Almost half, or approximately half of the patient may lymphadenopathy, hepatomegaly, and splenomegaly. And then anemia can also be observed because of the marrow infiltration. So 10% of patients meron silang autoimmune hemolysis because of the cold agglutinins, IgM antibodies that bind to red cells. Okay, since IgM yan, less than 37 degrees centigrade yung desirable temperature for this. It is an indolent disorder, so IgM is intravascular, okay? Nagkakaroon ng hyperviscosity and hemolysis. Okay, tumor growth can be controlled with low doses of chemotherapeutic drugs and immunotherapy with anti-CD20 antibody. So median survival rate, 8 years, can improve with addition of this inhibitor. Okay, so these are the key concepts regarding the plasma cell neoplasm with regards to multiple myeloma. Okay, so multiple lytic bone lesions, so suppress niya ang normal humoral immunity, secrete partial IGs that are nephrotoxic, associated with diverse translocations, associated with amyloidosis, deposition of amyloidosis. And then we have the other plasma cell neoplasms listed here. Okay. Now we go to Hodgkin's lymphoma. Okay. So Hodgkin's lymphoma encompasses a group of lymphoid neoplasm that differ from non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. So this is a table that differentiates Hodgkin's from non-Hodgkin's. Okay. Morphologically, yung distinct feature is the presence of Reed-Sternberg or RS cells. Okay, so if you will compare the two, more often localized on Hodgkin's lymphoma to a single axial group of nodes, no? Ito naman, multiple peripheral nodes are involved. Orderly spread by contiguity. Ito ng contiguous spread. This one, no? Yung mesenteric nodes in Mulder wing are rarely involved, but it's more common in non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And then extra nodal presentation is rare. Ito, extra nodal presentation is common for non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Classification, may limang classification based on WHO. Nodular sclerosis, cellularity, lymphocyte-rich, lymphocyte depletion, and nodular lymphocyte predominance. Okay, so that is Reed-Sternberg cell, as you can see here, or the RS cell, no? Showing us another one and another type of RS cell. Okay, this is another one, no? Showing us the RS cells. Then, yeah, popcorn, no? So those are RS cells. Okay, Hodgkin's lymphoma must be distinguished from other conditions in which cells resembling RS cells may be seen, such as infectious mononucleosis, solid tissue cancers, and large cell non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. So the diagnosis of this one depends on the identification of RS cell in the background of non-neoplastic inflammatory cells. Parang mixture of inflammatory cells are observed here, is observed, no? With the presence of RS cell. So meron din siyang characteristic immunohistochemical profile, no, which is used to compare the morphologic expression. We go to the first type, the nodular sclerosis. No? This is the most common form of Hodgkin's lymphoma. Presence of lacunar, no, variant of RS cells, and the deposition of collagen. Yan. Okay, so para siyang, kaya the name nodular sclerosis. No, there is collagen bands, no, that divide the lymph nodes into circumscribed nodules, positive for PAX5, no, CD15, CD30, and negative for these markers. Okay, usually involve lower cervical, supraclavicular, and mediastinal lymph nodes or of adolescents or young adults. The prognosis is excellent. Okay. Mixed cellularity, yung diagnostic with Sternberg ang nakikita, no? Parang owl eye. Okay. And mononuclear variants are also seen, no? In increased number. So they are associated with EBV infected patients in about 70% of cases, more common in males. Good, very good prognosis overall. Okay, so this is a table that will differentiate the different types of Hodgkin's lymphoma morphologically and immunophenotypically. So familiarize yourself with this one. And what are the features that we observe in these different types of Hodgkin's lymphomas? For lymphocyte-rich, uncommon form of classic Hodgkin's lymphoma, it is, no? Reactive lymphocytes make up the vast majority of the cellular infiltrate. Okay, involve lymph nodes, diffusely effaced but vaguely nodularity due to the presence of residual B cell follicles is sometimes seen. So mononuclear variants of RS cell with a classic immunophenotypic profile. This is associated as well with EBV, lesser nga lang 40% of cases. It has a very good to excellent prognosis. So you can see mas better prognosis ng Hodgkin's, no, disease. This is the least common lymphocyte depletion type. No? 5% lang siya ng cases. There is paucity of lymphocytes and a relative abundance of RS cells or their pleomorphic variants, no? Associated with EBV in over 90% of cases. So older adults, HIV positive individuals of any age, and individuals living in lower income countries, no? This is what we see. Advanced stage and systemic symptoms are frequent. Overall outcome is less favorable than in the other subtypes. Then we have nodular lymphocyte predominance type. No, this is an uncommon, non-classic variant of Hodgkin's lymphoma that occurs in about 5% of cases. Both nodes are effaced. Ibig sabihin ng effaced, wala na yung usual characteristic of a normal lymph node. No? So effaced by nodules of small lymphocytes admixed with variable number of macrophages. Okay, contains so-called LNH variants, no, with multi-lobe nuclear resembling popcorn kernel. Sinasabi ko sa inyo kanina, popcorn cells. Eosinophils and plasma cells are usually scant or absent in this type. So, generally, no, Hodgkin's lymphoma most commonly presents as painless lymphadenopathy. Patients with nodular sclerosis or lymphocyte predominance types tend to have stage 1 or 2 disease free of systemic manifestation. Patients with disseminated disease in stages 3 and 4 or the mixed cellularity or lymphocyte depletion sometimes are more likely to have symptoms, constitutional symptoms as listed here. No? Cutaneous immune unresponsiveness, also called anergy, resulting from depressed cell-mediated immunity, is seen in most cases of classic Hodgkin's lymphoma. So ina-attribute ito sa factors such as interleukin 10, no, that suppresses Th1 immune responses. Okay, so these are the different stages in distribution nila, involvement. No? So sa stage 1, ito yan, single lymph node or single extra lymphatic organ. Pag 2 naman, 2 or more lymph node regions, same site, no? Or localized involvement of an extra lymphatic organ or site. Stage 3, involvement of lymph nodes both sides naman of the diaphragm without or with, no, localized involvement of extra lymphatic organ or site. And then 4, diffuse involvement of 1 or more extra lymphatic organs or sites with or without lymphatic involvement. So, and key concepts: Hodgkin's lymphoma, unusual tumor consisting mostly of reactive lymphocyte, macrocyte, a combination of the different inflammatory cells, no, mixed with the tumor giant cells known as RS cells. Maraming type ang RS cell, no? So we have 2 broad types: classic, which has several subtypes, and nodular lymphocyte predominance, distinguished based on morphologic and phenotypic grounds. RS cells of classic types, no, they can express multiple cytokines, chemokines, and ligands, no, responsible for the host responses. Okay. Classic forms are frequently associated with acquired mutation, no, that activate transcription factor with the involvement of the Epstein-Barr virus infection. Lymphocyte predominance type expresses B cell markers not associated with EBV. Then we have the classic Hodgkin's lymphoma, highly responsive to immune checkpoint inhibitors. No, so this one is a diagram that shows us, you know, the different pathogenic lesions from the lymphoid neoplasm. So listed here, okay, we have the different lymphoid neoplasm, okay, and factors involved, you know, that will help them thrive, no? So as listed here. So they can evade growth suppressors, they avoid immune distractions, they enable replicative immortality, meron ding tumor-promoting inflammatory process, no? Ina-activate yung invasion capability and capability to metastasize, angiogenesis, just like any other tumor, genomic instability, and then they resist, no, cell death, dysregulating cellular energetics. Okay, so all this, no, are factors that would aid in the proliferation of tumor cells, no? Specific tumor cells that are mentioned here. Okay, then we go to the myeloid neoplasm. Common feature of this heterogeneous group of neoplasm is their origin from hematopoietic progenitor cells. These diseases involve the marrow and to a lesser degree the secondary hematopoietic organs as listed, spleen, liver, and lymph nodes. Then they present with symptoms related to altered hematopoiesis. So may three major categories. We have the acute myeloid leukemia, myelodysplastic syndrome, and the myeloproliferative neoplasm. So acute myeloid leukemia, tumor of hematopoietic progenitors, no, caused by acquired oncogenic mutation na would impede or affect differentiation of the cells, thereby leading to accumulation of immature myeloid blasts in the marrow. So mas marami ang blast. This is acute. So mas marami ang blast. So four functional categories of mutation, no? Transcription factor mutation, mutation ng signaling proteins, no? Mutation of genes that regulate or maintain the epigenome, mutation of P53 or genes that regulate P53. So with regards to immunophenotype, so difficult to distinguish myeloblasts and lymphoblasts morphologically. So kasama na talaga ang immunotyping ngayon when we are looking at white blood cell neoplasm. No? Although morphologically may mga characteristics sila, but when we treat patient with chemotherapy, it is now mandated to do immunophenotyping to specifically target this different neoplastic conditions. Okay, so we have acute myeloid leukemia, so myeloid series tayo. No? So most patients present within weeks or a few months of the symptoms, onset of symptoms. Ang complaints, yan, kasi involvement ng bone marrow ulit. So anemia, neutropenia, thrombocytopenia, yung associated with that, just like what we have mentioned, the other types of neoplasm. So thrombocytopenia, of course, abnormal bleeding ulit, meron mga petechial hemorrhages, chemosis, serosal hemorrhages, okay? Overall prognosis is guarded. AML is said to be a difficult disease to treat. Okay, so 60% achieve remission with chemotherapy, pero smaller portion, 15 to 30% remain free of disease for 5 years. Okay, so the term myelodysplastic syndrome refers to a group of clonal stem cell disorders characterized by maturation defects associated with ineffective hematopoiesis and high risk of transformation to AML. So, pwede siyang yung bone marrow partly or wholly replaced by the neoplastic stem cells that retains the capacity to differentiate but does so in an ineffective and disordered fashion. So, problem pa rin yan. So, not very good cells are produced. Okay, so the function would be deranged as well. Patients have peripheral blood cytopenias of varying severity. Okay, so these are microscopic examples of myelodysplastic syndrome. So primary MDS, predominantly a disease of older adults, 70 years of age is the mean age of onset. Half of the cases incidentally uncovered during blood testing. Yung iba symptomatic, weakness, non-specific weakness, infection, hemorrhages because of pancytopenia. Merong 6 categories in the World WHO classification. Okay, so several prognostic scoring system was developed. Okay. Worse prognosis are predicted by higher blast counts, and more severe cytopenias, as well as presence of multiple clonal chromosomal abnormalities. So for myeloproliferative neoplasm, um, there is a clinical and morphologic overlap, among this. So ano ang mga common features nila? Increased proliferative drive in the bone marrow, homing of neoplastic stem cells to secondary hematopoietic organs. No? So nagkakaroon ng extramedullary hematopoiesis. Okay. Variable transformation to spent phase characterized by marrow fibrosis. Ayan. So pwedeng ito yung nag-lead sa dry tap when you are doing bone marrow biopsy or aspiration. No? So peripheral blood cytopenias, variable transformation to acute leukemia can also happen. So we have here the different types of mutations, the consequences, the specific disorders. Okay. CML. Now, CML, there is presence of this gene, derived from portions of the BCR gene on chromosome 22 and ABL gene on chromosome 9. So BCR, ABL would direct the synthesis, constitutively active BCR, ABL tyrosine kinase. Okay, so meron siyang translocation. Okay, in this chromosomes, the so-called Philadelphia chromosome translocation. So the remaining cases of BCR ABL fusion gene is complex or cryptic rearrangement. The other methods can be detected so using this laboratory procedures, FISH, PCR. Okay. So this is CML. When we look at peripheral blood smear, meron kang maturation stages. You get to see very young cells, but you get to see mature cells as well. Tapos yung different other stages in between can be visualized. So if that's the case, then this is CML. If you rarely see mature cells or the different stages, and mostly you would see blast, then it's AML. Okay. So primarily disease of adults, but also occurs in children and adolescents. This is the peak incidence, 8 to 6 decades of life, insidious onset. Okay, so may mild to moderate anemia, hypermetabolism, increase ang turnover. Yun ang magiging related manifestation secondary to that. Okay. Polycythemia vera is characterized by increased marrow production of red cells, granulocytes, and platelets. So it is the increase in red cells that is responsible for most of the clinical symptoms. So yung polycythemia. Okay, so this must be differentiated from relative polycythemia, resulting from nag-hemo concentration and other causes of absolute polycythemia. So you have a big spleen in vera. Hemoglobin concentration is typically greater than 16 grams per DL, and the hematocrit is often 55% or more. Sometimes chronic bleeding leads to iron deficiency. Tapos masusuppress erythropoiesis sufficiently to lower the hematocrit into the normal range. Okay. Yan yung mga characteristics niya. Okay. Essential thrombocytosis associated with diverse mutation. Over 90% of cases have activating mutations in these genes. Okay. So this is what we see. We get to see a lot of platelets, in the peripheral blood smear. Usually mga 7 to 20 per oil immersion. But as you can see here, it's greater than that. So thrombocytosis na yan. Itong mga small uh, structures here are the platelets. Okay. So these are the characteristic of essential thrombocytosis. Hindi lang sila increase in number, also demonstrate qualitative abnormalities. No, marami nga sila pero abnormal ang function. No? Okay. So read through the other characteristics. Primary myelofibrosis. Okay, so the hallmark of primary myelofibrosis is the development of obliterative myelofibrosis, no? Replacement of myofibrous tissue. So, nagre-reduce ngayon ang hematopoiesis doon sa bone marrow. No? So, eventually, cytopenia din. No? Extensive extramedullary hematopoiesis can occur because marrow is not functioning well. No? So, extensive deposition of collagen in the marrow by non-neoplastic fibroblasts. So, ang circulating HSC, state of residence in niches, no, sa mga hematopoietic organs such as the thyroid. So, yun yung cause ng extramedullary hematopoiesis. Okay? So, these are the key concepts. Okay? Read through them. This regarding the myeloid neoplasm, discussing AML, myeloproliferative and myelodysplastic syndrome. Langerhans cell histiocytosis, no? Most common mutation is an activating fading to glutamate substitution, no? At this residue in BRAF, no? Proliferating Langerhans cells, they have abundant, often vacuolated cytoplasm, okay, and vesicular nuclei na merong mga linear grooves like this one. Okay? Okay. Presence of Verbeck granules in the cytoplasm is characteristic. So ito yung mga ine-express nila. Splenomegaly, so may mga disorders associated with splenomegaly, marami, no? Infectious process as listed here, mga congestive states, no? Related to portal hypertension, mga lymphohematogenous disorders, no? Like the ones that we have discussed, immunologic inflammatory conditions like RA, SLE, storage diseases, which you have discussed in genetics, and certain miscellaneous disorders, no? Like amyloidosis. So non-specific acute splenitis, no? Enlargement of spleen occurs in any blood-borne infection. Non-specific splenic reaction. This infection is caused both by microbiologic agents themselves and by cytokines that are released as part of immune response. So malaki ang spleen, 200 to 400 grams, and soft. Microscopically, acute congestion of the red pulp that will encroach on and efface the lymphoid follicles. So congestive splenomegaly, okay, there is chronic venous outflow obstruction. So that leads to splenic enlargement, okay. Cirrhosis of the liver is the main cause, no. Ito, yung 5-stem hepatic fibrosis, schistosomiasis, no. So you get to see that as well, okay. Congestive splenomegaly also may be caused by obstruction of extrahepatic portal vein or splenic vein. And thrombosis, no, can be caused by infiltrating tumors arising in other organs, okay, leading to that. Infarct, we have here, blood infarct, white infarct, no? Pale, that wedge shape. Okay. Septic infarct, this appearance is modified by development of suppurative necrosis. So, nagkakaroon ng depressed scars, no, during the healing process. Neoplasm, pwede rin meron, rare except in myeloid and lymphoid tumors, often cause splenomegaly, no? Benign fibromas, stromas, so these are the different neoplasms that we get to observe there. Pwede rin congenital anomalies, no? Complete absence, it's rare, pero pwedeng mangyari, no? Associated with other congenital abnormalities. Pwede rin accessory spleen, no? Or otherwise known as spleniculi. Okay? Ito, rupture, usually precipitated by blunt trauma, no? That happens. Okay? So, meron ding instances na, no? Spontaneous rupture, okay? Pag normal spleen, dapat hindi, no? So, pag may mga minor physical insult to spleen, the spleen is made fragile by an underlying condition. Okay, so we have here the most common predisposing conditions listed here. Okay, then we go to the thymus disorders, thymic hypoplasia or aplasia, seen in Bjorn syndrome. Okay, we also have thymic cyst. Okay, uncommon lesions, usually discovered incidentally post-mortem during autopsy or surgery. No? Presence of cystic thymic lesion in a symptomatic patient should lead to a thorough search for neoplasm, whether lymphoma or thymoma. Thymoma, tumors of thymic epithelial cells, such as containing benign immature T cells or thymocytes. Merong 3 histologic subtypes. Okay, here. Cytological benign non-invasive, cytological pero invasive siya or metastatic, cytologically malignant ang features. Meron ding non-invasive thymomas, no? Most often composed of medullary type epithelial cells or a mixture of medullary and cortical type epithelial cells. So invasive thymoma penetrate to the capsule of the surrounding structure. Ang thymic carcinoma represent about 5% of thymomas, no? They are usually fleshy, invasive masses, no? Most are squamous cell carcinomas, microscopically. No, meron ding lymphoepithelioma-like carcinoma, which is a distinctive variant. All right, so that's it. Credits to Dr. Cheryl Cabrera for this PowerPoint presentation. Thank you.